Hello, my name is Ryan Hardy. I'm the president of the Red River chapter of the American Theater Organ Society, or RRATOS. The Red River chapter is a nonprofit organization that is responsible for playing and maintaining the mighty Wurlitzer at the Fargo Theater. I got into the theater organ when I was in 6th grade. I was visiting my grandparents' home in Arizona, and in Mesa, Arizona, there's an organ restaurant. It's called Organ Stop Pizza, this big pizza place, and it has the world's largest Wurlitzer theater organ installed in it. So you can see all of the pipes in the chambers. They aren't covered up like they are here at the theater, but instead you can see into the chambers because the front is plexiglass. And like, you know, any 6th grader, you know, I should just learn how to play this instrument, you know. But it's a lot of fun. It's a challenge, but that's why I like it. One aspect I like about the theater organ is that it can play a wide range of music. You know, it can play anything from Bach to Queen, and it can do it really well, which makes it really appealing to many age groups. Today we'll be discussing the history of the Wurlitzer, as well as going behind the scenes and taking a look at the inner workings. The theater organ is an invention of the 1920s. It was used to accompany silent films, and at the very beginning of American film, they didn't have sound attached to the movies. The technology just wasn't available. So in some theaters they had pianists play the musical score, or they hired a multi-piece orchestra. And these orchestras were very expensive to hire. Only the biggest theaters could afford it, you know, because they'd show movies a few times a day. And it was often found cost-effective to buy and install one of these instruments, the theater organ, and that's how they got the name the unit orchestra. The original instrument of the Fargo Theater was built in 1926. In New York, and it was installed in the theater in February for the March opening of the Fargo Theater. The original instrument is a lot smaller than this. It's about a third of the size of the current instrument. Right now, this console was built by Lance Johnson of Johnson Organ Company in Moorhead.
During the time that the organ or the theater was being restored, we built a new console for it, this console, which is patterned after Rady City Music Hall in New York. And I was able to do that because I worked on that organ several times, and I was able to get a lot of information that was very valuable to us.
A very famous Wurlitzer installation, and also a very famous venue. This organ right now, it controls 32 sets of pipes called ranks, and it has 4 keyboards which are called manuals. That's the organ terms for them. Now that we know the history of the organ, let's take a look at where the sound comes from. These are 2 of the Wurlitzer's 4 organ blowers. The organ blowers provide the wind that goes to the organ pipes. The wind that's created from all 4 of the Wurlitzer's organ blowers is actually enough to power all of the church organs in Fargo Moorhead at the same time. I'm now in the main chamber of the Fargo Theater Wurlitzer. This is on the left side of the auditorium, and it has more of the ensemble sounding stops in the organ. So these are more mellow in nature and give the theater organ its distinct theater organ sound. In front of me right here, we have 3 sets of pipes. Directly in front of me is the clarinet. In front of that is the tibia clausa, which is the primary theater organ rank of pipes. And then in front of that is the oboe horn. This is the solo chamber. It's on the right side of the auditorium, and it has all of the loud solo sounding stops of the organ. So we have the trumpets, we have the oboes, we have the tuba mirabilis, and then we also have the loudest stop in the organ, which is the English horn, which is directly above me. The pipes in the solo chamber all have a unique shape, and that unique shape affects the sound that they make. For example, this is the orchestral oboe, this rank right here. And because it's covered on the top and it has a very small opening for the sound to come out, that means that the sound will be very muted. This is opposite of this rank right here, which is the brass saxophone. And these resonators are made out of real brass and they're open on the top. And because of that, the sound is very bright. A characteristic of the organ is that you can't change the volume of the pipes directly. Instead, we have to enclose the pipes in a room called an organ chamber, where we are now, and control the volume by using swell shades. Swell shades are big wooden shutters or panels that open and close to control the volume. When they're open, more sound can get out of the chambers and the volume is louder. But when they're closed, more sound stays inside the chamber and the organ sounds quieter. This is a trumpet pipe from the solo chamber. It's a member of the reed family of organ pipes. It's called a reed because inside of the organ pipe there's a small piece of metal that vibrates up and down, similar to a clarinet or saxophone mouthpiece. This is a percussion chamber. It has all of the percussion instruments and effects that are controlled from the organ console. This is the toy counter, which has all of the effects, such as the snare drums, the train bells, the train whistles. It also has the tambourine and castanets. On the opposite side of the percussion chamber, we have the cathedral chimes on the back wall. We also have a full-size marimba, a set of bells, and underneath the bells we have the xylophone. In the corner of the percussion chamber, we have the big bass drum, as well as a timpani effect using the bass drum. And then underneath all of that is what's called a chrysoglot. And a chrysoglot is very similar to a vibraphone. Right here we have the stage organ of the Fargo Theater Wurlitzer. This has all of the bass pipes that are too big to fit inside the organ chambers. We have 6 ranks of pipes in the stage organ, some of which are the originals to the 1926 Wurlitzer that was first installed in the theater. At the organ console, this is really the control center of the organ. It's the only thing that people see for theater organs, and this is only a small part. But all of the manuals, the keyboards, control the same sets of pipes, which is why there's so many of these organ tabs on the keyboards, because they're all doubled for 4 keyboards in this case. And this allows to change the sounds on the fly, so you can add some brass fanfares or brass stabs, or make a little glockenspiel accent on the bells. There are a few families of pipes on this organ. One of them is the reeds, which are like the clarinets or the trumpets in the orchestra. And those are represented on the console by red tabs, and they sound like this. They have a very trumpet-like sound to them. The loudest stop of the reeds is called the English horn. It's the loudest stop in the organ. We also have the flute pipes, which are just kind of like what they say they are. They sound kind of like a flute, more like an organ style of a flute. The next family are the string pipes, which work similar to flute pipes, but have a different sound quality to them. They sound like this. The unique aspect of the theater organ is that because it was meant to accompany silent films, they also have to have effects. And a common motif in silent films is the classic train. So we have a few train effects on this organ. Then along with that, we also have horses and then sirens, as well as several other effects. The key differences between a theater organ and a church organ, which most people are familiar with, is the way that they're played. Church organs were meant to accompany divine service, church services, and lead a congregation in singing, which, because of that, the music had to be very constant, whereas at the theater, the music has to be fluid to replicate an orchestra. So they're built very similar, but the way that they're designed and played is a little bit different. You can think of it kind of as two different singers, like a country singer and a classical singer. They both sing, but the way that they sing is different.
We decided we're going to have prologues and have the ATOS members play every weekend before show started, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. We've also been very fortunate in the last few years of getting college students interested in our project. We have 4 college students that have joined the chapter. And we thought it was unusual because usually this type of instrument really appeals to more of the mature people, the older people, because they remember it. And so when we bring in this new talent, of course, it's the best thing that ever happened to us. And now we can be assured that our club will go on, we'll have successors. I've played that for about 3 months.
The mighty Wurlitzer at the Fargo Theater is really a hidden gem of Fargo. A lot of people know that it's here, but they don't know anything about it. And it's actually interesting, this organ is literally ingrained into downtown. Across the street from the Fargo Theater, there's a little sidewalk plaque. This Wurlitzer console engraved into the sidewalk, which is really cool that it's just so prominent in the downtown community. And because it's so prominent, we're working on getting it more involved with community events and concerts and silent films throughout the year.